Hello and welcome. Today I will show you how I turn very unrealistic sketches into very realistic art. Now here we have my sketch. I made some flying islands which hang on chains so they don't fly away, and I thought it would be cool if the islands flew over a desert. Since nothing grows in the desert and we only have vegetation on the islands, it creates an interesting contrast. One chain should be in the foreground and get smaller and smaller until it merges with the background, thus creating a sense of dimension as it leads the viewer from the foreground to the distant background. And I've also placed a few objects in the foreground like the crashed plane or the cactus. It just needs a comparative size to let the viewer understand how big the islands in the background really are. So now I've explained enough, let's start making everything realistic. Let's start with the simple things and make the desert. I used this image and masked out the desert. I duplicated the layer and made the dunes in the background a little smaller so the desert doesn't take so much space. Now I took the rock of this picture as the foundation for our first island. I copy pasted this part a few times and then cut out the shape we need. Now as you can see on the sketch for our center island, I needed a lot of vegetation, exactly. So I researched for some suitable stock images, and after I found a few good ones, all I had to do was combine everything together. Since I took many pictures of different plants and they don't all match in color, I corrected that quickly, and I also removed a few highlights since they don't make any sense. I also made a background, but I wasn't very happy with it, so I removed it later. So let's get to the second island. I simply used the rock of our first island and changed the shape a little bit. Then I added this moss terrain and adjusted the edges so it matches with the rock below. And then I placed a few rocks on the island and then some beautiful trees, and we're already done. Now on the third island I thought about not making any trees at all, but instead go for a more rocky terrain like you would know it from a mountain range. I've also found just the perfect picture for that idea, so sorry trees, not today. Now I masked out the swimming island and placed it on our flying island. What an upgrade. Then I just had to change its shape a little bit by erasing some of the rock so that it does not look the same as over there. And then I made a few more adjustments, and now we have all three islands ready to go. And now kids, what do we need that the island doesn't fly away? Exactly, gravity. Or we just put them in chains. So I found a good picture of some chains, but the chains must be much longer to reach the sky. So I made them longer. It's just copy pasting at that point. Now that they are long enough, I've started to attach them to the islands. Now as you can see, the old background is gone because it looked like shit, so I tried out a new one. I used this image but it was way too pink, so I fixed it with HSL, and I wanted the islands to blend into the background a bit so it looks like they're far away, and so I started drawing clouds and fog in front of them, and I think it turned out pretty good. Now we have our islands finished, the background too, and almost everything we have on the sketch is already in our scene, but it still looks kind of boring, and that's because we don't have a light source. Now guys, just watch how much better it gets when I paint in some rays of sunlight coming from the top. This makes such a huge difference and it looks so much better. Now these dunes here are actually very far away, but to make the viewer understand that, I drew some kind of dust or fog in front of that part of the desert. Since we have some water on this island here, I thought about making a big waterfall going down from there. It's not in the sketch, but hey, I make the rules here. And then I found this nice image and placed it on the edge here. Then I warped the waterfall slightly to the right to make it look like there is some wind blowing from that direction. And because we have some clouds in our sketch, let's add one in front of every island. And then I made the shadows on the clouds the same color as the background because it just looks much better. Now there are still a lot of things to do, like the plane and the cactus and the green stuff on the big chain, and the video is already so long, so let's just speed it up and see you later. Okay guys, you've suffered long enough, but before I show you the final boss from sketch to real animation reveal, like and subscribe.